Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something essential for anyone striving for greatness. How to build an unstoppable mindset. A mindset that remains unshaken by the challenges and adversities that life inevitably throws your way. But the question is, how do we cultivate such a mindset? How do we unlock the hidden strength that lies within us, waiting to be fully realized? To begin, we must first acknowledge a fundamental truth. We are far more than what we consciously know ourselves to be. Beneath the surface of our daily thoughts, behaviors and reactions lies a vast, powerful force, our unconscious mind. This hidden realm holds the potential for transformation, for it influences how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. When we learn to engage with this unseen part of ourselves, when we tap into its power, we unlock the ability to shape our lives in ways we never imagined possible. But with this power comes a responsibility, the responsibility to understand our unconscious. For too long, we avoid confronting the darker aspects of ourselves, the parts of us that we feel ashamed of, the emotions we suppress, the memories we try to forget. This is where the idea of the shadow comes into play. The shadow is made up of those very parts of ourselves that we reject or deny. Yet within these aspects lies untapped strength. By confronting and integrating our shadow, we gain access to a deeper, more authentic version of ourselves. It is only when we embrace these hidden parts of our psyche that we begin to feel whole and powerful, not in spite of our flaws, but because of them. As we embark on this journey of self-discovery, we move towards a process called self-actualization, the continuous evolution of who we are meant to become. It is not about reaching a final destination, it is about the constant unfolding of our potential. To have an unstoppable mindset, we must accept that growth will not always be easy. We will face setbacks, we will experience moments of doubt, but it is through these trials that we learn the most about ourselves. The key is to understand that true strength does not lie in perfection, but in the willingness to keep moving forward, no matter the obstacles in our path. Now, the mind is a powerful tool. It is constantly creating stories, interpreting events, and assigning meaning. But the stories we tell ourselves often limit us. How many times have we convinced ourselves that we are not good enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough? These are narratives shaped by past experiences, by fears, and by societal expectations. But to build an unstoppable mindset, we must take control of these narratives. We must become conscious of the thoughts that shape us and learn to rewrite them. Instead of thinking, "I can't," we must replace that with, "I will." We must see every setback as an opportunity for growth, not as a final verdict on our abilities. One of the most powerful tools we have in reshaping our mindset is the use of symbols and archetypes. These are universal patterns of behavior and experience that are hardwired into our psyche. Think about the warrior, the embodiment of strength, determination, and courage. Think about the sage, the one who seeks wisdom and balance. These archetypes are not just stories. They are part of who we are. When we recognize these powerful symbols within ourselves, we connect to the deeper wisdom that lies within our unconscious. We become the warrior when we need strength, the sage when we seek clarity. By embodying these archetypes, we can navigate challenges with greater purpose and resilience. But none of this matters if we do not learn to find balance between our inner world and the outer world. The external world will always be chaotic. There will always be challenges, conflicts, and uncertainties. But when our inner world is in harmony, we become impervious to external turmoil. The key to an unstoppable mindset is not in controlling the world around us, it's in controlling our response to it. When we cultivate inner peace, when we align our actions with our deepest values and truths, we are no longer shaken by what happens outside of us. We become like a tree that stands firm in the storm, knowing that its roots run deep. So, my friends, as you leave here today, remember this: the power to build an unstoppable mindset lies within you. It is not something you must chase outside of yourself. It is not something you must wait for. It is already within you, waiting to be discovered. By embracing your unconscious mind, integrating your shadow, continuing your journey of self-actualization, rewriting your mental narratives, embodying the strength of archetypes, and finding balance between your inner and outer worlds, you will build a mindset that is unshakable, unstoppable, and undeniably powerful. The power of the unconscious mind is a profound concept, one that has shaped much of human thought and self-understanding for centuries. It is the bedrock of our mental processes, the unseen force that influences our every action, thought, and emotional reaction. Despite this, many people remain unaware of its immense potential. Most of us go about our daily lives with only a limited understanding of how much of our behavior and beliefs are driven by forces beyond our conscious awareness. The unconscious is not just some passive or secondary part of the mind. It is a dynamic, powerful force that shapes our perceptions, guides our decisions, and holds within it the untapped capacity for transformation. If we can learn to engage with this hidden part of ourselves, we can begin to shape our thoughts and lives in ways we never imagined possible. The unconscious mind is often compared to an iceberg, with only a small fraction visible above the surface. What we consciously experience, the thoughts and feelings that we are aware of, represent only a fraction of what is happening within our minds. Beneath the surface lies the vast majority of our mental activity, encompassing memories, forgotten experiences, repressed emotions, and instincts. These deeper aspects of the unconscious mind are not static. They are alive and constantly influencing our behaviors, often in ways we don't recognize. When we find ourselves reacting to a situation in a way that feels disproportionate or irrational, it is often the unconscious mind at work, drawing upon past experiences, emotional memories, and patterns that we may have long forgotten or ignored. To build an unstoppable mindset, it is essential to recognize the power of the unconscious mind and learn how to engage with it constructively. The first step in this process is awareness, becoming attuned to the ways in which our unconscious drives our thoughts, feelings, and actions. For example, many of us carry around deeply ingrained beliefs about our worth, capabilities, and potential. These beliefs often form in early childhood and are shaped by our upbringing, societal conditioning, and personal experiences. However, these beliefs are not always accurate reflections of who we are or what we are capable of achieving. They are simply patterns of thought that have been established over time, often without our conscious consent. By becoming aware of these patterns, we can begin to question their validity. Do we truly believe that we are not good enough, or have we simply been conditioned to think that way? Do we believe that failure is a sign of our inadequacy, or have we internalized the fear of failure from others? The unconscious mind often operates in a way that makes these patterns feel automatic, as if they are irrefutable truths. But the power of awareness lies in our ability to recognize these automatic thoughts and bring them into the light of consciousness. Once we see them clearly, we can challenge them, change them, and replace them with healthier, more empowering beliefs. Engaging with the unconscious mind also means acknowledging its deeper wisdom. Beneath the surface of the mind, there exists a profound intelligence that is constantly processing information, learning from experience, and seeking balance. In many ways, the unconscious is more attuned to the subtleties of our environment than our conscious minds are. It picks up on signals, patterns, and emotional cues that we may not be consciously aware of. This deep well of knowledge can be an invaluable resource for building an unstoppable mindset. By learning to listen to our intuition, trusting the insights that arise from within, we can make decisions that are more aligned with our true selves and our deeper values. Often, the unconscious communicates with us through symbols, dreams, and feelings that don't always make logical sense at first. But if we can learn to trust this inner guidance, we tap into a wellspring of wisdom that can help us navigate challenges with greater clarity and confidence. Furthermore, when we embrace the unconscious mind, we begin to recognize the importance of emotional processing. Many people, particularly in high-pressure environments, tend to suppress or ignore their emotions. However, these unprocessed emotions do not simply disappear. Instead, they continue to exert influence over us in unconscious ways, often causing us to act out of fear, anger, or anxiety without understanding why. The key to unlocking the full potential of the unconscious mind lies in the ability to bring these emotions into conscious awareness, to examine them, and to release their hold over us. By allowing ourselves to fully experience and process our emotions, we reduce their power over us, freeing up mental energy and emotional resilience that can be better directed toward our goals and desires. When we learn to understand and engage with the unconscious mind, we no longer feel like passive recipients of life's experiences. Instead, we become active participants in shaping our mental and emotional states. This, in turn, allows us to take charge of our destiny. An unstoppable mindset is built on the foundation of this inner awareness, the understanding that we are not merely products of our environment or past experiences, but rather conscious creators of our reality. The unconscious mind, when harnessed, becomes an ally in our pursuit of personal growth, success, and transformation. It is a tool, an engine of change that can propel us to new heights if we learn to trust its wisdom, embrace its power, and work with it rather than against it. To build an unstoppable mindset, one must confront a profound aspect of the human psyche: the shadow. The shadow represents the parts of ourselves that we deny, repress, or refuse to acknowledge. It is made up of our fears, our weaknesses, our undesirable traits, and the emotions we would rather not confront. These aspects are often formed during childhood, shaped by societal norms, family expectations, and personal experiences that led us to suppress certain parts of our identity to fit into a predefined mold. Yet while the shadow may seem like something to avoid or hide from, it is in reality an essential component of self-awareness and personal growth. We often think of ourselves as good, capable, and rational beings, but the truth is that we all carry a darker side. Those parts of us that we find uncomfortable or that we feel do not meet the idealized version of ourselves we present to the world. For example, it could be the aggressive, competitive side we suppress in favor of maintaining harmony and peace, or it might be the feelings of jealousy or insecurity that arise in response to another person's success, emotions we feel we should keep hidden. These feelings and traits are pushed deep into the unconscious, where they continue to influence our behavior and decisions in ways we might not fully understand. Ignoring or denying these parts of ourselves doesn't make them disappear. In fact, it often strengthens their grip on our psyche. The more we suppress our shadow, the more power it gains over us. We may act out in ways that feel out of character, unable to explain why we suddenly lash out in anger or why we feel inexplicably anxious or afraid. The truth is that the shadow is not something inherently evil or negative. It is simply the parts of ourselves that have been repressed or disowned. These qualities are not inherently bad, but when left unchecked, they can manifest in destructive ways, hindering personal growth and the ability to achieve mental resilience. Embracing the shadow means accepting the reality that we are multifaceted beings with both light and dark elements. It requires acknowledging that we have the capacity for negative emotions and behaviors, and that these parts of us deserve understanding, not shame. Instead of running from these aspects of ourselves, we must turn toward them, engage with them, and learn to integrate them into our consciousness. This process of integration is essential for building an unstoppable mindset because it allows us to reclaim the energy and power that was once tied up in our repressed feelings and traits. When we begin to confront the shadow, we realize that it holds a great deal of wisdom and strength. For example, suppressed anger can often signal a deep desire for justice or a need to assert oneself in situations where we feel powerless. By recognizing this, we can channel that anger into positive actions, standing up for ourselves or advocating for others, rather than letting it explode in unproductive ways. Similarly, jealousy, when acknowledged, can reveal underlying desires for growth or success. Rather than feeling guilty for feeling envious, we can use this awareness to motivate ourselves to work harder, achieve more, or even reach out to those we envy to learn from their success. Integrating the shadow also requires a deep level of self-honesty. It is not enough to simply recognize these darker aspects of ourselves. We must confront them and take responsibility for their existence within us. This does not mean that we must accept harmful or destructive behaviors, but rather that we understand where they come from and how they manifest in our lives. Self-responsibility allows us to reclaim control over our actions and choices, transforming what was once a source of fear or shame into a source of personal empowerment. When we embrace our shadow, we also become more authentic in our relationships with others. Often we hide parts of ourselves not only from ourselves, but from the people around us. We wear masks to protect our vulnerabilities, showing only the side of ourselves that we believe is socially acceptable or praiseworthy. Yet this only creates distance and a sense of inauthenticity. By accepting our shadow, we allow ourselves to be real, not just with ourselves, but with others as well. This authenticity is a key component of an unstoppable mindset. It fosters deeper connections, greater self-acceptance, and a stronger sense of inner peace. Moreover, the shadow is not something that can be defeated or fully eradicated. It is an ongoing process of integration. Just as we experience growth and change in life, the shadow will continue to evolve. New aspects of ourselves may surface, and old patterns may re-emerge. This is not a failure, it is a natural part of the journey. The goal is not to completely eliminate the shadow, but to learn to live with it in a healthy and balanced way. The shadow is not the enemy. It is a source of strength and self-awareness, an ally in the quest for personal transformation. Integrating the shadow leads to greater emotional resilience. When we have accepted the full range of our humanity, including our flaws and imperfections, we no longer fear the challenges that life presents. Instead of feeling threatened by difficulties or setbacks, we approach them with a sense of calm understanding. We recognize that these challenges are part of the process of growth and self-discovery, and that they provide opportunities to integrate even more of our shadow into our conscious awareness. Self-actualization, the process of becoming the best version of oneself, is often seen as the ultimate goal in life. It is not a static destination, but a continual journey, a lifelong evolution where we constantly strive to realize our fullest potential, both in terms of our abilities and our deepest inner desires. To build an unstoppable mindset, one must understand that the path to self-actualization is not linear. It is fraught with obstacles, uncertainties, and challenges that can often feel discouraging. Yet it is through this journey of growth and transformation that we develop the resilience, strength, and mental fortitude needed to overcome life's most difficult trials. To begin with, self-actualization requires us to push beyond the limitations that are often self-imposed. Throughout life, we are surrounded by messages, whether from family, friends, society, or even our own internal dialogues, that dictate what we are capable of achieving. These messages often create boundaries, whether conscious or unconscious, that limit our thinking and potential. For instance, we might tell ourselves that we're not smart enough to pursue a certain career, or not talented enough to achieve a particular goal. These beliefs are not inherent truths, they are merely products of past conditioning. To build an unstoppable mindset, one must learn to question these self-imposed limitations and actively reject them. Self-actualization is about reclaiming one's own sense of power. It is the understanding that we are not passive recipients of our environment, but active creators of our experiences. We must take responsibility for our lives, our choices, and the paths we follow. The sense of agency that comes with this realization is empowering. Rather than waiting for circumstances to change, self-actualization calls on us to change ourselves, to develop the strength of character and the mindset that can navigate and conquer any challenge. This empowerment comes not from being without fear or doubt, but from learning to act in spite of them. An unstoppable mindset embraces obstacles as opportunities to grow, knowing that every challenge is a stepping stone toward becoming more than we were before. Moreover, the process of self-actualization involves a deep exploration of our true selves, our core values, desires, and purpose. Often, people live their lives according to the expectations of others, whether that's fulfilling the roles society or family expects of them, or conforming to ideals of success that don't align with their authentic selves. This misalignment can create internal conflict, leading to feelings of frustration, dissatisfaction, and confusion. True self-actualization requires us to reconnect with our deepest values and aspirations, the ones that resonate with our true nature. Only when we live in harmony with these values can we achieve a sense of fulfillment that is independent of external validation or societal measures of success. The journey towards self-actualization is also a process of continually refining our understanding of who we are and who we want to become. It is not about achieving perfection, but about constantly striving to grow, learn, and adapt. This process involves taking risks, stepping outside of comfort zones, and failing, sometimes spectacularly, along the way. Failure, however, is not something to be feared or avoided. It is an essential part of growth. Those who are truly unstoppable understand that failure is not a reflection of their worth, but rather a valuable lesson that leads to greater understanding and improvement. Each setback teaches us something important about ourselves and our approach to life. An unstoppable mindset is one that views failure not as a final defeat, but as a necessary component of success. As we pursue self-actualization, we must also acknowledge the importance of embracing both our strengths and our weaknesses. Self-actualization is not about becoming perfect. It's about accepting all parts of ourselves, including those we might prefer to hide or deny. In this sense, the path to self-actualization is deeply connected to the earlier concept of shadow integration. It requires us to be honest with ourselves and to accept our flaws and imperfections without judgment. When we embrace our weaknesses, we free ourselves from the crippling fear of failure or rejection. We stop measuring ourselves against unrealistic standards and learn to appreciate the unique qualities that make us who we are. This self-acceptance is liberating and essential for building an unstoppable mindset. Furthermore, self-actualization calls on us to cultivate a sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. This deeper sense of meaning provides the fuel that drives us forward, especially during difficult times. When we have a clear sense of why we do what we do, when we are aligned with our deepest goals and values, we are more resilient in the face of obstacles. Purpose gives us the motivation to keep going, even when the road ahead seems daunting or uncertain. An unstoppable mindset is one that is driven by this internal compass, not by external expectations or fleeting rewards. It is the unshakable belief that we are on a path that is true to who we are, and that every challenge we face is part of the journey toward fulfilling our purpose. An important aspect of self-actualization is the ability to continually learn and adapt. The world around us is constantly changing, and our journey toward personal growth must evolve in response to these changes. An unstoppable mindset is one that remains open to new experiences, new perspectives, and new information. It is about cultivating a growth mindset where we see ourselves as lifelong learners, always improving and adapting. This openness to change allows us to respond more effectively to the challenges life presents. When we approach life with curiosity and a willingness to grow, we are less likely to be overwhelmed by the inevitable uncertainties and disruptions that come our way. The power of symbolism and the influence of archetypes on the human psyche are integral to shaping an unstoppable mindset. Human beings have long been captivated by stories, symbols, and the underlying patterns that govern life. These archetypes, deeply embedded in our unconscious, shape how we perceive the world, how we act, and how we navigate our inner and outer landscapes. Archetypes are universal symbols or figures that resonate across cultures and time periods, representing fundamental human experiences and qualities. The warrior, the sage, the rebel, the lover. Each of these archetypes represents a different aspect of the human condition, providing a framework through which we can understand ourselves and our actions. When we tap into these archetypes, we can access powerful internal resources that help us cultivate an unshakable mindset. These archetypes are not mere metaphors or constructs. They are ingrained in the very fabric of our being. They speak to the deepest parts of the unconscious mind and provide us with models of behavior, wisdom, and emotional strength. When we recognize these archetypes within ourselves, we can draw upon their traits to guide our actions and decisions, especially in moments of difficulty. For instance, when faced with an overwhelming challenge, we might invoke the archetype of the warrior, embodying courage, discipline, and the drive to persist in the face of adversity. The warrior archetype is not about aggression or fighting, but about having the inner strength to stay the course, to push through limitations, and to keep moving forward with determination. By aligning ourselves with this powerful archetype, we can summon the resolve needed to tackle even the most daunting obstacles. Similarly, the archetype of the sage offers a different kind of strength. The sage represents wisdom, reflection, and the capacity to remain calm and composed even in the midst of chaos. In times of confusion or uncertainty, invoking the sage archetype allows us to step back and gain perspective. The sage's wisdom comes from the ability to detach from immediate emotional responses and instead make decisions from a place of understanding and clarity. By embodying the sage, we learn to trust our intuition, to see beyond the surface of things, and to recognize the deeper truths that often lie hidden in life's complexities. The sage archetype encourages patience, mindfulness, and the belief that solutions to problems often reveal themselves when we give ourselves the space to reflect. Another powerful archetype is the lover. The lover represents connection, passion, and the pursuit of meaningful relationships. In our personal and professional lives, the lover archetype reminds us of the importance of nurturing genuine connections, expressing empathy, and staying open to the beauty and depth of life. It encourages us to remain vulnerable, to embrace our emotional richness, and to cultivate compassion for ourselves and others. In moments of isolation or fear, connecting with the lover archetype can help us rediscover our capacity for love, compassion, and emotional resilience. The lover archetype also speaks to the importance of finding purpose and meaning in the pursuit of what we deeply care about, encouraging us to align our actions with our values. The rebel archetype, on the other hand, represents the courage to break free from societal constraints and challenge the status quo. In times when we feel confined by external expectations or societal norms, invoking the rebel archetype can provide the strength to step outside the lines and forge our own path. The rebel archetype fuels creativity, independence, and the drive to challenge limitations. It empowers us to question conventional wisdom, to seek alternatives, and to pursue our own unique vision of success. While the rebel archetype may seem disruptive, it is essential for breaking free from stagnation and embracing change, transformation, and innovation. By embodying the rebel, we cultivate the mental toughness to stand firm in our beliefs and make bold decisions that lead to personal and societal growth. These archetypes, when recognized and integrated, offer a wealth of psychological tools to help build an unstoppable mindset. The key lies in understanding that these archetypes exist not just outside of us, but within us. They are internal resources that we can tap into when we need them most. In times of stress, doubt, or adversity, we can consciously invoke the traits and qualities associated with these archetypes to guide our responses and decisions. For example, if we are facing a tough personal challenge, we might take on the mindset of the warrior, tapping into our courage and resilience. If we are unsure of the right path to take, we might channel the wisdom of the sage, seeking clarity and reflection. If we need to reconnect with our passion or sense of purpose, we might draw upon the energy of the lover. The beauty of working with archetypes is that they help us transcend the limitations of our everyday identity. We often get stuck in the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what we can achieve, and what we deserve. These stories are often shaped by past experiences, societal conditioning, and fears. However, archetypes allow us to step beyond these self-imposed narratives and embrace a more expansive, empowering vision of ourselves. By embodying an archetype, we access a broader, more universal set of qualities that transcend individual limitations. Moreover, archetypes provide us with the flexibility to adapt to different situations in life. Life is rarely static, and the challenges we face can change in form and intensity. At times we may need the warrior's strength, while at other times we may require the sage's wisdom. Sometimes we will need the lover's warmth and compassion, and at other times we will need the rebel's courage to break free from outdated systems or thinking. The ability to embody different archetypes depending on the circumstances enables us to navigate life's complexities with greater agility and resilience. It gives us the mental flexibility to shift between different modes of being depending on the situation at hand. The concept of emotional resilience plays a crucial role in building an unstoppable mindset, especially in the face of adversity. Life is inherently filled with challenges, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty, and how we respond to these difficulties often determines the trajectory of our personal growth and success. Emotional resilience is not merely the ability to bounce back from adversity, but also the capacity to grow stronger as a result of it. It involves the capacity to maintain a sense of stability, focus, and clarity in the midst of chaos, allowing us to move forward even when circumstances seem insurmountable. Developing emotional resilience is essential for building an unstoppable mindset, as it ensures that we can persist through difficulties, learn from setbacks, and continue to grow and evolve regardless of what life throws at us. At the core of emotional resilience is the understanding that our emotions, while powerful, do not define us. Too often, people are consumed by their emotional states, allowing fear, anger, sadness, or anxiety to take over their thoughts and actions. This is entirely natural. Emotions are a powerful force within us, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed when confronted with difficult situations. However, emotional resilience requires us to acknowledge our emotions without letting them control our behavior or decision-making. We learn to respond to emotions with awareness, to feel them fully without becoming trapped in them. This emotional awareness allows us to make choices that align with our goals and values, rather than reacting impulsively to transient feelings. In moments of stress or hardship, emotionally resilient individuals are able to maintain a sense of perspective. They understand that negative emotions and challenging circumstances are often temporary, and that their ability to adapt and learn from adversity is what ultimately shapes their growth. They don't see setbacks as personal failures, but as opportunities for improvement and learning. For example, if faced with a professional setback, such as a project failure or a missed opportunity, rather than internalizing it as a reflection of their worth, a resilient person would view it as a lesson. They would reflect on what went wrong, identify areas for improvement, and adjust their approach moving forward. This shift in mindset from seeing setbacks as failures to viewing them as learning experiences is crucial for cultivating emotional resilience. It requires a level of emotional maturity that allows us to detach from the immediate emotional reaction and see the broader picture. A critical component of emotional resilience is the ability to regulate our emotional responses. Emotional regulation is not about suppressing or ignoring negative emotions, but about managing them effectively so they don't derail our progress. This skill involves being able to recognize when emotions are becoming overwhelming and taking intentional steps to regain balance. Simple strategies such as deep breathing, mindfulness, or taking a moment to pause before reacting can help bring us back to a place of calm when emotions are running high. Over time, practicing emotional regulation enables us to approach challenges with a clear and focused mind, making it easier to identify solutions and take proactive steps toward resolving issues. One of the most significant aspects of emotional resilience is the cultivation of a growth mindset. People with a growth mindset believe that abilities and intelligence are not fixed traits, but can be developed over time through effort, learning, and perseverance. This belief fosters emotional resilience because it encourages individuals to approach challenges with curiosity and determination, rather than fear of failure or self-doubt. When we see ourselves as capable of growth, we are more likely to persist through difficulties, viewing them as stepping stones on the path to mastery rather than as insurmountable barriers. This mindset allows us to embrace challenges as opportunities for development, building the emotional resilience necessary to keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow or uncertain. Another key factor in emotional resilience is the ability to build and maintain strong, supportive relationships. The importance of social support cannot be overstated in the face of adversity. Having a network of people who understand us, offer encouragement, and provide perspective can make a tremendous difference in our ability to cope with stress and navigate difficult situations. Emotional resilience is often strengthened by the support and guidance of others as they help us stay grounded and offer insight during times of struggle. Building meaningful relationships allows us to share our burdens, gain new perspectives, and find encouragement when we feel down. These relationships act as anchors, helping us stay connected to our sense of self-worth and reminding us that we are not alone in our challenges. Additionally, emotional resilience requires self-compassion, the ability to be kind to ourselves during moments of difficulty. It is easy to be hard on oneself when things go wrong, to berate ourselves for perceived mistakes or shortcomings. However, this self-criticism only exacerbates negative emotions and makes it harder to recover from setbacks. Practicing self-compassion involves treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer a close friend in a similar situation. When we acknowledge that mistakes and challenges are a natural part of life, and that we are worthy of love and care even when we falter, we create a supportive internal environment that encourages growth and healing. Self-compassion allows us to navigate difficulties without being weighed down by guilt or shame, enabling us to recover more quickly and continue on our path towards success. Resilience also requires an ability to maintain a sense of purpose and meaning, even in the face of adversity. When we have a clear sense of why we are pursuing a particular goal or path, it becomes much easier to persevere through difficulties. This sense of purpose acts as a guiding force, providing us with the motivation and strength to keep going, even when things get tough. When the going gets difficult, emotionally resilient individuals are able to connect with their deeper values and remind themselves of the bigger picture. Whether it's the desire to create a better life for themselves or to make a positive impact on the world, this sense of purpose fuels their determination and resilience. Lastly, emotional resilience requires the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Life is unpredictable, and the ability to remain flexible in the face of change is essential for maintaining mental and emotional stability. Resilient individuals understand that change is a constant, and they develop the ability to adjust their expectations, strategies, and goals as needed. This adaptability allows them to approach challenges with an open mind, knowing that they can find new ways to navigate difficult situations. The final key aspect in building an unstoppable mindset is the practice of continuous self-reflection and self-awareness. Self-reflection is the process of looking inward, observing our thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and patterns, and evaluating how they align with our goals, values, and aspirations. It is a deliberate and thoughtful examination of our inner world, providing us with critical insights that can guide our decisions and actions. Without self-reflection, we risk moving through life on autopilot, reacting to circumstances without truly understanding the motivations behind our actions. Self-awareness, the ability to understand our own emotions and how they influence our behavior, is the foundation upon which growth and transformation are built. By cultivating these practices, we gain the clarity and insight necessary to make intentional choices that propel us towards success. One of the first steps in developing self-reflection and self-awareness is learning to be present with ourselves. In today's fast-paced world, it is easy to get caught up in external distractions, constantly moving from one task to the next without taking the time to pause and reflect. Self-reflection requires us to slow down and turn inward, creating space for quiet contemplation. This process allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, giving us the opportunity to understand the root causes of our actions and reactions. It is through this self-observation that we begin to identify recurring patterns and behaviors, both positive and negative, that shape our daily lives. By acknowledging these patterns, we gain the ability to change those that no longer serve us and reinforce those that contribute to our growth and success. Self-reflection also encourages us to confront our limiting beliefs. These beliefs are often deeply ingrained, shaped by our past experiences, societal conditioning, and family dynamics. They may manifest as thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," "I don't deserve success," or "I'll never be able to change." These limiting beliefs act as invisible barriers, preventing us from reaching our full potential. Through self-reflection, we can identify these beliefs and begin to challenge them. We can ask ourselves, where did this belief come from? Is this belief really true? And how is this belief holding me back? By questioning these assumptions and replacing them with more empowering beliefs, we start to break down the internal walls that limit our growth. This process of dismantling limiting beliefs is essential for cultivating an unstoppable mindset, as it empowers us to step into our true potential and take bold actions toward our goals. Along with identifying and challenging limiting beliefs, self-reflection helps us recognize areas of strength and resilience. When we reflect on past experiences, especially those where we have faced adversity, we can identify moments when we demonstrated courage, persistence, and resourcefulness. These reflections allow us to reconnect with our inner strength and remind ourselves of our capabilities. The more we acknowledge and celebrate our strengths, the more we build confidence in our ability to navigate future challenges. It is this self-awareness of our strengths and abilities that forms the foundation of an unstoppable mindset, as it reinforces the belief that we can handle whatever obstacles come our way. Additionally, self-awareness helps us regulate our emotions and reactions, particularly in high-stress situations. When we are aware of our emotional triggers, we can manage them more effectively. For example, if we know that we tend to react defensively when criticized, self-awareness allows us to pause and reflect before responding. We can recognize the impulse to become defensive and choose a more thoughtful, composed reaction instead. Emotional regulation is a key element in maintaining an unstoppable mindset, as it ensures that we do not allow negative emotions like anger, fear, or frustration to derail our progress. Instead of being reactive, we learn to respond with intention, choosing how we engage with the world and the people around us. Self-reflection also plays a critical role in goal setting and achieving long-term success. By regularly reflecting on our goals and evaluating our progress, we can determine if we are on track or if adjustments need to be made. This process of continual assessment helps us stay aligned with our values and priorities. It also allows us to recalibrate our approach if something is not working, whether it's a change in strategy, a shift in mindset, or simply the need to increase our effort. Self-reflection provides the clarity we need to make the necessary changes. Without this regular check-in with ourselves, we risk drifting off course, losing sight of what truly matters and allowing distractions to take over. Furthermore, self-reflection fosters a sense of humility and growth. It encourages us to acknowledge our mistakes, learn from them, and move forward with a greater sense of wisdom. The most successful individuals understand that growth is not linear, and setbacks are an inevitable part of the journey. Instead of viewing mistakes as failures, they see them as opportunities for learning and self-improvement. Self-reflection allows us to extract the lessons from our experiences, even the difficult ones, and use them as stepping stones toward greater success. This mindset of continuous growth and learning is crucial for developing resilience and maintaining an unstoppable mindset. Incorporating self-reflection into daily life does not require hours of meditation or long periods of isolation. It can be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to pause and check in with ourselves. Journaling is one of the most effective tools for self-reflection. Writing down our thoughts and feelings allows us to process and externalize our emotions, providing clarity and insight. It also creates a record of our growth over time, which can be incredibly motivating as we look back on how far we have come. Another powerful practice is mindfulness. By being fully present in the moment, we cultivate awareness of our thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations. This heightened awareness enables us to respond more skillfully to life's challenges and to make choices that are aligned with our true intentions. Self-reflection also encourages accountability. By regularly reflecting on our actions and behaviors, we hold ourselves responsible for the choices we make. It is easy to blame external circumstances or other people when things don't go as planned, but self-reflection empowers us to take ownership of our lives. We recognize that our actions, or lack thereof, are often the driving force behind the outcomes we experience. This accountability fosters a sense of empowerment, as we understand that we have the ability to shape our lives through our decisions and actions. In conclusion, building an unstoppable mindset is not a matter of simply wishing for success or relying on external circumstances. It is a deeply transformative process that requires conscious effort, self-discipline, and the willingness to confront both the inner and outer challenges of life. By embracing the power of self-awareness, emotional resilience, and the recognition of archetypes, we begin to cultivate a mindset that is not easily swayed by adversity. We develop the mental strength to face setbacks with courage, to learn from failures, and to consistently push ourselves beyond our limitations. Through self-reflection, we continually align our actions with our highest values and aspirations, ensuring that we move forward with clarity and purpose. The journey toward an unstoppable mindset is not one of perfection, but of continuous growth. It is about understanding that we are not defined by our circumstances, but by how we respond to them. Each moment of challenge is an opportunity to reinforce our inner strength, deepen our self-awareness, and reinforce the belief that we are capable of achieving what we set our minds to. As we embrace the psychological tools that shape our thoughts, behaviors, and emotions, we unlock the full potential of our mind and spirit, empowering us to overcome any obstacle and rise to any challenge with unwavering determination. The path to an unstoppable mindset is a lifelong pursuit, one that requires patience, commitment, and an openness to growth. But as we build the mental resilience, wisdom, and self-awareness needed to navigate life's complexities, we become the creators of our own fate, forging a future that is limitless in its possibilities. The strength of an unstoppable mindset lies in its foundation, the belief that no matter what happens, we have the power to choose our response and shape our future. And through that belief, we unlock the extraordinary potential within ourselves.